Starting. Thanks, Gary. So welcome to the Irish Research Council Starting Consolidator Laureate Awards for 2021. This webinar is going to take you through an overview of the programme, including some of the eligibility criteria, the application process and the evaluation process. I'm going to start by introducing you to the team. So that's myself, Emer Cahill, and I'll be your programme manager for this call. I'm joined by Gary O'Sullivan and Stefan Eric, who are postdoctoral interns with the Irish Research Council. Gary is going to be the domain discipline champion for the physical science and engineering. Stefan is going to cover the arts or the humanities and social sciences, and I will cover the life sciences. So the Laureate programme began back in 2017 in response to the government strategy Innovation 2020, which called for greater support of frontier basic research across all disciplines. The aim of the Laureate programme is to support exceptional researchers and to develop their track record and enhance their international competitiveness, with a particular focus on the European Research Council Awards, which the Laureate programme mirrors. The programme also aims to retain excellent researchers in the Irish system and to encourage talented researchers working outside of Ireland to relocate here. As with the IRC Awards, the sole criterion for evaluation is excellence, and that's both in relation to the project and the applicant. As I mentioned, the previous call ran from 2017 to 2018 and had a budget of 17.5 million. This allowed us to support 38 awards across both the starting and consolidator pool, and we drew from an applicant. There was 258 applications in total for both awards. This equated to a 14% success rate, and it was relatively balanced between men and women. We're pleased to announce that the budget for the current call has increased to just under 25 million, with additional budget coming from the Department of Further and Higher Education, Research, Innovation and Science. In relation to the current call, both the starting and consolidator awards have an eligible duration range of between 2 and 4 years. The budget for starting will start at 250,000 up to a maximum of 400,000, and consolidator will range from 450,000 up to a maximum of 600,000. The budget range is not prorated, so this means that applicants who choose to seek a 2-year award can request budget from within any point of their respective award ranges. But we do ask applicants to note that reviewers are asked to assess the budget submission based on value for money and a thorough justification of the spend. So just to keep that in mind. The start date for both awards is the 1st of September 2022. And as always, we welcome applications from all disciplines. Potential awardees must be based whole time in an eligible higher education institution or research performing organisation. Eligible in this case relates to the requirement that as of the 1st of January 2019, all HEIs and RPOs who wish to put forward applications for state research funding are required to hold at least a bronze award in the Athena Swan Charter of Ireland. And a complete list of the eligible institutions is available on the website. The eligibility window post-PhD for starting grants is at least 3 years and up to 8 years prior to the 10th of November 2021, which is the call deadline for applications. For consolidator, the eligible range is 8 years or at least 8 years up to 15 years. The eligibility window for both awards can be extended in response to eligible career breaks, and a detailed list of these is provided in the call document, so please do check that out. Starting awards is aimed at researchers who have already produced excellent supervised work and are ready to work independently. And Consolidator is aimed at researchers who wish to consolidate their own independent research program or team. In both instances, applicants should be able to demonstrate a promising track record from an early stage appropriate to their research field and career stage. Now, we've had a number of queries already in relation to this eligibility section, whereby applicants feel that the description of the award does not reflect their career stage. This language is taken from the IRC language at Starting Consolidator, and we have therefore included it in our documentation. But I would encourage applicants to be guided by the eligibility windows, the requirement in the track record, and to seek guidance from the research offices in the host institutions, as they really are an invaluable resource and should be engaged as early as possible. I'd also guide people to the Technopolis pre-award process review, which we published earlier this year on our website, and it provides some useful data on the previous successful awardees from the last call and where they fell in relation to post-PhD range, and it gives a rough indication of their career stage with regards to the number of applications number of publications they have and previous funding success. Employment status for the awards can fall under 3 categories. So applicants can be full-time employees, they can be employed on a contract that covers the duration of the award, or they may not currently be employed by the host institution, but if successful will be offered a contract of employment which covers the duration of the award. Applicants applying to the Starting Award may not currently hold an IRC or ERC Starting Consolidator grant. And applicants on Consolidator may not hold an IRC or ERC Consolidator or Advanced grant. The Synergy and Proof of Concept awards in the ERC are not included here, and they will not count against eligibility. And I also encourage you to again reference the call document, as it offers more detail on the overlap of holding additional awards. So for instance, a potential Consolidator applicant who would like to apply for Laureate but currently holds a Starting ERC grant can do so for a limited period of time, can hold both awards. But this, as I said, is covered in more detail in the call document. Moving on to the application process. So there have been a number of changes from the previous call, beginning with the introduction of the expression of interest stage. This is used to aid the recruitment of international peer reviewers by the IRC. And this stage is currently open and is mandatory. So only applicants who submit an approved EOI through their intended host institution will be eligible to submit a full proposal when the call opens in September. The deadline for EOI submissions is 6 o'clock on the 27th of August, and applicants can find the template that they need to complete and send into their research office on the website. The research offices will be responsible for endorsing the EOIs, and they will also submit them on your behalf to the IRC. The application process for the Laureate Award program will only be accepted, or the applications for the Laureate Award program will only be accepted through the online grants management system. And the link to the system will be available on the webpage from the 1st of September 2021. There will also be a detailed guide on how to set up a profile and to submit your application. And an important date to note there at the end is the 10th of November at 4 p.m. and that is the application deadline. And we strongly encourage applicants not to start their application submission process at 3 p.m. on the 10th. It does take a little bit longer than that, so give yourself some time. In another change from the previous process, we no longer require applicants to submit a pre-proposal to this as part of the process. The full proposal, which should be submitted by the call deadline, should include the following. So a detailed research proposal, CV, track record, data management plan, a statement on ethical issues, and a statement on the sex or gender dimension of the research, one letter of support from the host institution, and your PhD certificate or transcript. Also, any supporting documentation if applicable, and this would really relate to supporting documentation or evidence of career breaks where you're extending your eligibility window. I'm going to take an extra minute to cover the sex-gender dimension, which was introduced by the IRC back in 2014 as part of a number of initiatives that arose from the gender strategy. It requires applicants to give full consideration to whether there is a potential sex and/or gender dimension in their proposed research, and importantly, where applicants indicate no sex or gender dimension, that this is fully justified. The team has been working to try and make the guidance for this section more robust and to include field-specific examples of the sex-gender considerations. So a full package of information is available in the call document in Appendix 3 for this section. So please do reference that. One pitfall that many applications have gone wrong on in the past is mistaking the gender balance of the team for the sex-gender dimension in research. These are two separate issues, and this should not be used as a means of answering this question. So the evaluation has also seen a number of changes, and one of the most notable for this call is the separation of the social sciences and humanities panel into two distinct panels. These two panels will now be evaluated independently and draw equal share of the budget alongside the life sciences and physical sciences and engineering. The full list of the disciplines included under each panel can be found on the website. The Laureate will remain a two-step evaluation process, and at the first stage, the complete application will be sent for international peer review by subject experts. Another new addition is the rebuttal phase. So this will see comments from the peer reviewers sent out to applicants, who will be given a 2-week window to provide additional supporting evidence where necessary, and this will be limited to one A4 PDF. The complete proposal, the reviewer scores and feedback, and the rebuttal will then go to a sitting panel for review. The panel will review and rank the applications, ultimately assigning the score of either A or B, and all applications receiving an A ranking will progress to stage 2. At the second stage of the evaluation process, applicants will be invited to attend an interview in front of the same sitting panel that evaluated at stage 1. Applicants should expect questions related to any aspect of the research proposal and budget, as well as questions on how the Laureate Award would support future applications for IRC funding calls. Following the interview, each domain panel will rank the applications based on the evidence gathered through stage 1 and stage 2. Awards will be made based on the ranked list, and the cutoff for funding will be determined by the budget available. In the case of a tied score, the scoring of the quality of the proposed research will be used as a selection criteria to separate applications. And in addition to if additional tiebreakers are required, the council will inform applicants what these tiebreakers are. Applications that fall below the budget cutoff will be placed on reserve list for 12 months. The reserve list will be activated in order of ranking and when budget becomes available. At the end of the assessments, the first assessment stage, in relation to feedback, applicants will receive a ranking, who receive a ranking of B will be provided with their percentile range, indicating roughly where their application ranked in relation to others, and they will be provided with a feedback report, which will comprise of a panel consensus statement. At the end of stage 2, applicants will also receive an evaluation report comprising a panel consensus statement and a percentile range. And if any borderline decisions require tiebreaker criteria, then we will inform the applicants of what criteria were used to determine the successful applicant or not. Panel consensus statements reflect the consensus decision taken by the panel as a whole, based on prior assessments from the remote peer reviewers, and a thorough discussion and ranking against other proposals during the panel meeting. So to recap on some of the differences to the previous call, there is now an expression of interest stage, which, as I mentioned, is open and mandatory. There are 4 panels, so we'll have the physical sciences and engineering, life sciences, humanities, and social sciences. There's no pre-proposal stage, so the full and complete proposal is required by the deadline. And I will remind people that it is the responsibility of the applicant to ensure that the proposal is complete. If there are any missing documents that we notice past the deadline, it will render the application ineligible and it won't proceed for international peer review. The inclusion of a rebuttal phase and then two new processes that will impact the track record section are the DORA, the inclusion of a DORA narrative section, and the COVID impact section. So DORA, which is being included now in deference to the IRC being a signatory of the San Francisco Declaration of Research Assessment, will now mean that reference to journal impact factors will no longer be accepted, and the use of H-index as part of publication track record will be discouraged. We have a narrative section included in the track record where we will invite applicants to note the significance of the publications they've chosen to include. And the COVID impact section is a new section that will allow applicants to elaborate on situations that have occurred over the course of the pandemic that have adversely affected their curriculum vitae and their track record. We will also be asking the reviewers to pay heed to this section in particular when they're reviewing both at the international peer review stage and the sitting panel stage. Again, the frequently asked questions are an important and regularly updated document that sits on the Laureate webpage. We will create one in response to any questions that come through from this webinar session. And we do regularly update the call document or the frequently asked questions on the website call page when we receive them from the research offices. Apart from today and during this webinar, we do encourage people to submit their queries through the research offices, and this is in the interest of transparency and fairness. The IRC staff will not discuss individual applications on the phone or by email, so please just go through the research offices from now on. And with that, I just wish you the very best of luck with your application and thank you for your time this morning. We are going to leave the webinar live for an additional few minutes to allow anybody to submit any questions that they still have. And we hope to be in touch in the future.